In the middle of a normal afternoon, a man walked into a bank with a bomb locked around his neck. Minutes later, surrounded by police, he exploded on live television. This is the story of the pizza bomber heist, one of the strangest and most disturbing crimes in American history that became the Netflix docuseries. Welcome. This is the corporate narrator, bringing you the most gripping true stories out there. If you love deep dives, dark twists, and stories that stay with you long after they end, make sure you like and subscribe. Help us grow our channel, because every new subscriber fuels the next unforgettable story. And trust me, the next one starts now. August 28th, 2003, Erie, Pennsylvania, a quiet lakeside city. Working-class neighborhoods. Nothing dramatic ever really happens here. At 1:30 p.m., 46-year-old pizza delivery driver Brian Wells walked into a branch of PNC Bank. He wasn't yelling, he wasn't frantic, but around his neck was a thick metal collar, bolted shut, wired, heavy, and in his hand, what looked like a cane. Except it wasn't a cane, it was a shotgun disguised as one. He handed the teller a typed note demanding $250,000. But the note didn't just demand money. It laid out instructions, precise, timed. If he didn't follow them exactly, the bomb would detonate. The teller didn't have $250,000. So, Wells left with about $8,700. Police were already responding. Within minutes, officers spotted him in a nearby McDonald's parking lot. He wasn't fleeing. He was standing there, waiting. Police ordered him down. He complied immediately. That's when he said, "It's going to go off." Officers weren't sure what they were dealing with. Was this real? Was this a fake device? Was this some elaborate suicide? The bomb squad was called, but they were too far away. Wells kept pleading. He said he had been forced. He claimed he had been delivering pizzas earlier that day to a remote radio tower site. And that's where several men ambushed him. They locked the collar on his neck. They gave him the shotgun. They gave him the note. And they gave him a deadline. Police debated whether to approach him. They hesitated. At 3:18 p.m., the device detonated. The explosion was violent, and Brian Wells died on live television. At first, investigators thought this was a botched robbery, but then they read the note. 9 pages, typed, with detailed maps and coordinates. It instructed Wells to leave the bank, then drive to multiple rural locations to retrieve keys that would supposedly unlock the bomb. It was a scavenger hunt, but not a simple one. Each step had strict time limits. Each clue led to another container, another instruction, another task. It felt engineered, structured, almost theatrical. When the police followed the clues, they found something strange. Dead ends. Missing keys, instructions that could not physically be completed in time. It began to look like the hunt was never meant to succeed. And that raised a terrifying possibility. What if Wells was never supposed to survive? Investigators began digging into Wells's circle. One name kept surfacing, Marjorie Diehl-Armstrong. Brilliant, manipulative, volatile. She had a history of violence. And just weeks earlier, her former boyfriend, James Roden, had been found dead in her freezer. She claimed self-defense, but the police weren't convinced. Then came Kenneth Barnes, a handyman, criminal history, and eventually, he talked. Barnes told investigators the robbery wasn't spontaneous. It was planned. The goal? Money. But not just any money. They needed cash to pay someone to eliminate Roden. The robbery was funding something darker. But here's where it gets complicated. Barnes claimed Wells was in on it, that he believed the bomb was fake, that he thought it was just intimidation. Others believed Wells was manipulated, possibly tricked into believing it was harmless. And here's the part no one can answer. Did Wells know the bomb would actually explode? Or did he believe he would walk away? Forensic experts later dismantled what remained of the collar bomb. It wasn't crude, it wasn't sloppy, it was complex. Multiple locking mechanisms, a timed trigger, industrial construction. This wasn't panic, this wasn't improvisation, this was engineering, and prosecutors would later argue something chilling. Even if Wells had completed every step of the scavenger hunt perfectly, there may not have been a real way to unlock it. The hunt wasn't an escape plan, it was a delay tactic, a distraction. Time for the police to be confused. Time for the architect to disappear. The bomb wasn't there to scare him. It was there to silence him. For years, people thought this was a robbery gone wrong. A desperate man who built a bomb and miscalculated. It wasn't. The device was designed to detonate. The scavenger hunt was designed to fail. And the collar ensured that the only person who could explain the full story would never get the chance. In 2010, Marjorie Diehl-Armstrong was sentenced to life in prison for her role in the plot. She died in 2017. Kenneth Barnes received 45 years after cooperating with investigators. The case is considered solved. But one question lingers. Was Brian Wells a willing participant in a robbery he thought he could survive? Or was he the first victim in a murder plot disguised as a heist? Because when that timer hit 0, the only person who truly knew the answer was gone.